Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, welcome to Canadian Sober, eh? I'm your host and resident alcoholic, Dougie Fresh. So glad you're with us today. Wow. How do you introduce somebody that is this amazing? I honestly don't know. I've been following this lady now for a little while on some of the social media platforms, and her posts and her shares are very amazing. And she's very, very well versed in recovery. She does so much for her community. And the past month, she just celebrated 16 years of sobriety. And I thought, I got to get this lady on here and I got to get her story shared. So please, ladies and gentlemen, world, Eh-Gariel, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. I'm excited.
I'm excited you're here. It's pretty amazing when we get to do stuff like this and we get to share a little bit of hope around the world. And I'm so blessed today that you're the guest that gets to do that. Can you share with the world a little bit about yourself, your experience, strength, and hope?
Well, I am 16 years clean. My clean date is August 18, 2008. I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I've been living here for 30 plus years. I started when I was very young. I was 8 years old. I started, drinking, and gave me the pump and the go to do whatever. I'm a tomboy. I was not really a problem child, like hugely, until it got worse, in my teenage years and stuff and older. But I come from the South. I was born in Somerville, Georgia, and I moved up here. My dad was in the military. I was 4 years old when I moved up here with my dad and my mom and my older sister. And then after that, then my baby sister came and she was born here. So I come from a dysfunctional family. Both my parents were drinkers. My dad was a raging alcoholic and my mother was a laid back. And she would, work and come home, from work, or, housewife before she started work. This is just what I remember now. And she would smoke a cigarette and have a rum and coke, whatever. She would just drink and chill, watch her shows and drink her Inquirer magazines, Good Housekeeping, all that stuff back in the day. If you don't know, now you know. So, and my dad was a raging alcoholic, and he would come home drunk from work, or drunk, from work to whatever, the tavern, whatever. And I've seen him with black eyes. He cheated on my mom. They were married for 17 years. And dad was he was abusive. He didn't like nobody stealing his shine. And my mom put up with it for so long, to the point where I saw all this discord and everything around my home. And it just caused me to drink more, even when I got in trouble, caused me to grow up fast. I grew up fast. I was wearing heels at the age of 10, 11. I was going to bars, never got carded back in those days. I could drink whatever and be 14 years old, 13 years old on up. And so I experienced and grew up fast. I was pretty independent. I always kept a clean room. I started smoking also when I was 11. stole cigarettes out my mom's purse. And, it was a really, really, really tough time in those days. And, uh, and my story is recovery and relapse. So I relapsed around 8 or 9 times, went to different treatment centers, did outpatient and inpatient, mostly inpatient. Um, I got a little clean time here, some clean time there. Um, and then to fast forward it, my mother was really sick, and she passed away, and I went deeper into my addiction. Um, and I didn't come to until towards the end, around 2008. I remember getting clean and moving back to Seattle, from living in Bremerton, Washington, across the water. I did treatment there. Um, and then me and my ex at the time, we were living together, and everything was cool until that didn't go so well. And it went into a downward spiral for me because I really loved him, and I didn't think that would happen to me. But then I found out through other women who had a relationship with him and were like, "What do I do?" And I was like, I couldn't take it anymore. And the downward spiral, I mean, almost took me out to the point where I could have lost my clean. So the best thing to do was to move out and move to Oxford to learn how to live again on my own, to be around women, go to meetings, do step work, which I highly recommend. Don't do it on your own, and don't think that you don't need it, because you do. So I'm just letting you know that's my experience, because it set me free. But the thing is that I can be raw with this recovery, and sometimes the truth hurts, but I really have to stop. I was so tired of everything. Like the summers here in Seattle, like in August, it was really, really hot. We were having 90, almost 100-degree weather. That's when I stopped. It was so hot and so exhausting, tired doing the same thing over and over again and over and over again. And then eventually I returned, and I came to and asked God to help me in this situation. Like, I can't drink no more. I can't get high no more. I'm messing with these guys. I'm tricking myself. I can't do this. And walking the blade, everything you can think of. And then I woke up one day uh, with this guy next to me who I worked with, and I'm telling you, that was it for me. And I started getting like getting back on public assistance to get food stamps, money, whatever I needed to do to get myself back afloat, because I was determined to stop this. I asked God to remove it, and it took a little time until that date on the 18th of August. And I've been clean ever since. I've had some time where I've had some experience while in recovery where I was surrounded by sickness, and there's some things that I've done that weren't so pretty in recovery. And I've forgiven myself from all of that, and that's where again the step work came in, was to forgive myself, and that I'm only human, and to also not to be just start this cycle all over again. Like, I can't imagine being 60 and still doing drugs and alcohol. Like, really. I have friends that are still out there still doing it. And some of them are gone. Some of them never had a taste of this, and they're gone. But it can happen, and it does happen. And And again, for those who don't work a program of recovery on a daily basis, will relapse. I have to be honest about that. And if you're stuck, this step work and everything will unstuck you. I believe that. Because my higher power showed me like he put it out there for me, like, this is what you're going to do and this is how you're going to do it. You listen to my spirit, and I guarantee you, I will move this whole obsession from you and you never have to use again. And when I asked that and I said yes, it happened. And this is where I'm at. I have my own place. I have a view. I have I have 4 grandchildren, beautiful grandchildren. I have a family who's not in recovery, but I do have cousins back home in Georgia who are in the program. And I talk to them and they see me on a daily basis. What else? I have plans to do some things for people of recovery up here in Seattle, Washington, like something fun. That's the one thing I learned when I got in recovery is service. Service was the biggest thing for me, and it showed me how to stay out of my head. It showed me how to be a woman in recovery, to be supportive. Now, I have to be honest, with the 3 women that I support and I sponsor, they're amazing. They're doing so good, and they've been going through some tough challenges in their life, and they're learning. And I also help people who also ask me, what do I do about this problem? How do I quit drinking and stuff like that? I got some friends that are low key, don't, tell everybody what they do, but I am a product of who I am now. And I would not exchange it for none of that stuff that's going on in this world right now. God has been too good for me. And I have the drive, I have the motivation, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's a good life. I've been overpaid. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate it. You mentioned something right at the end there that caught my attention,
Mm-hmm.
and it was that you live your program out loud, and I know a lot of other people do. Do you think it's a situation where where people work, or maybe like they don't want family members to know, or why do you think a lot of people don't want to tell anybody that they're in recovery?
Well, I think it probably has to do with because they don't want nobody to know, or it can be the ashamed part of it, like being judged. Like if I tell some people that haven't seen me for a long time, and I tell them, I don't drink, and I don't do that anymore, and they start tripping out, acting all funny and judging me. Those are not my people. Those are not my people. Next.
Yeah.
That's it. Because also recovery in the fellowship has taught me where I have survived the fellowship, and people have gotten up in my face and told me off for no reason, out of nowhere. And I've had to take a step back to evaluate what I need to do, what's best for me. I've had to cut people out of my life. And these were learning experiences that I was like, maybe if I just held on to them a little while longer and talked it out. But if my higher power is telling me, no, this is not how we treat people. We don't shoot our wounded. We don't shoot our wounded. You know, I'm the type of person where now, if you were to hurt my feelings over ego, not me, them, or anything else, we're good. I love you from afar, but I can't intertwine with you. I can't be connected with you, because what I'm doing in my recovery, in my life, my path, is it's not for everyone. Like I also share in meetings. Quit going to the same freaking meeting all the time, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Go to different meetings you've never been to and meet some different new people. Meet some new people. This is what I'm all about, Doug. I'm out the serious focus on the new things. It can be people, it can be places, and that's what I've been doing. And it's so refreshing. And it's so top notch. Like your recovery can be top notch for real, you know. And I can't express enough how how we come back, you know, seeking more recovery. Like I want more of this. You know, a lot of people have been traveling and stuff, and I was going to take off and go traveling this year, but it wasn't my plan. And I wasn't even jealous of seeing people going to Greece and all this other stuff. And I was just like, gosh, I wish I was there, but I was happy for them. I wasn't like, oh, you make me sick. You're like you know how people act and stuff. Yeah. So, but the thing is like, I tell myself also, it's like, you know, my time will come. My time will come. Save that money up. That's what you do. You know, and it's not about the cars. It's not about the salary you get, your money, and all these fancy things that you have, you know, because people like to clean up real good and shine with a lot of diamonds and jewelry and nice Jaguars and Mercedes Benz and stuff like that. That's great and all, but what counts in here? It counts in here. The kind of heart that you're supposed to have. And that's why I love hearts so much. You know, the emojis that I be putting, the peace and love and the hearts and the prayer hands and the smiles, and that's what I'm all about. And I'm so forever grateful, you know. Like I do believe that you know, drugs can change us, and that we forget that these changes are lethal. I also believe that if anybody can come out of this and stick with it, it really, I'm telling you, it may be hard, up and down, sideways, all up over the place, but guaranteed it's the best life you can ever have. I'm serious. I'm a serious being, and I love what Narcotics Anonymous has done for me. I started off in AA early, back in 1989. And when I moved to Bremerton, I was doing some AA, and then all of a sudden my ex was like, I told people about you, let's do this NA meeting. And I'm telling you, the NA meeting, the word, the literature in Narcotics Anonymous was so pure and so powerful. I was drawn to it. And that was me. Everything that they say in these books about us was for me. It was designed for me. So, yeah.
And you just mentioned, you were telling me there before our interview started that you started an NA meeting where you live. People, I find people, you know, will go to whatever meetings, you know, are available. So was there a big need for an NA meeting where you are? Like, were you like, you know what, I'm going to be the person that's going to start this?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, because there were particular places where everybody goes to, just this one or two places. And I was tired of hearing the same message. I was tired of hearing the same message. And I was like, I need something different. and I was going to other meetings where everybody was going to, and 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 I don't know, like I got this nudge and just saying, why don't you start your own meeting? And I thought about that. So I pondered on that a little bit and started calling a couple of churches and stuff like that to see if we can have a space to have a meeting. And they never got back to me. And I was telling my sponsor about it. And I told my sponsor, and she said, okay. She goes, tell me how that goes. So I told her how it was going for me. And then she said, you know what? I see what you were talking about. I want to do this meeting with you. I said, what? And she said, yeah, I want to do this meeting with you. So she was like, okay, well, let me know how your end goes, if we get the space or not. And if we get it, cool. But if we don't, let me just say, I know some connections. Let me help out if you don't get it. And next thing you know, it never came through on my end. And she called the church, and the church said yes.
Nice. Yeah.
And we were happy. It was a 1-hour meeting. We came up with names, we wrote down names, and we were talking about like Phoenix Rising something. And I was like, are you sure about that? She said, well, do you got some names? So I wrote down spiritual warriors, I just wrote down some stuff. And then she was explaining, like, she wanted something that has to pertain with light, something with the light. And I said, light the way? And she said, say that again? I said, light the way, NA? And she said, that's it. So we called it Light the Way, NA.
Light the Way, I like that.
And we're in the schedule. We're on the na.org. Yeah.
Nice.
And we started our first meeting January 29th of this year.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
One question I have for you about that is, technically alcohol is considered a drug.
Yes, it is.
It's considered a drug. And in a lot of meetings around where I am, you're not allowed talking about drugs. You're only allowed sticking to alcohol. If you could change it, would you? Would you just be allowed to talk about whatever and just make it like us all one big happy family?
I stick to NA, and I don't say. I used to say I was an alcoholic addict. I used to say I was an alcoholic addict. And then two predecessors told me, which one are you going to be? Are you going to do AA or are you going to do NA? And then I thought about it, prayed about it, and I was like, I'm an addict. Because I am.
Yeah.
Because alcohol is a drug, and so are the other things, the other drugs that I did. So jails, institutions, and death. Oh my.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's what got me there was these chemical devices. And I'm telling you, it was wild. It was so wild. And I tussled with it for so long, but I like it the way it is. Good. I mean, if you're an alcoholic, you're an alcoholic. Stay in AA.
Yep.
But you could come to NA because alcohol is a drug. But if that's what you do, that's what you do. Everybody's recovery is different, and I can't tell and don't want to tell nobody what they should do. I stay in the solution. You heard me say that before, Doug. I stay in the solution. I don't want to be no problem. I stay out of the way because the traffic over here is lesser. I don't have a whole bunch of road rage or anything like that, but my life is pretty peaceful.
Well, we don't have much time left for the show, but I want to ask you one question that's been on my mind. And just because of recently late, and I know politics are politics, And I'm not going to ask you who you're going to vote for or anything like that.
Please don't.
But the other night I heard two people talking about what this person did and what that person did. But I never heard really too much about what the plans are. And I've heard in the past a lot of plans about this and a lot of plans about that. But I've heard no plans about housing or addiction. And I can tell you here in Canada, where I am, it's really bad. And there has to be a plan for that. What do you think the U.S. government needs to do to help addiction where you are?
I think that they need to delegate people like me and you and others who are in recovery to help these people who don't know about addiction. We had a governor's race after the debate, and these guys who are running for governor, they did talk about the homelessness and the drug addiction with the fentanyl and everything else. All I know is that if they were to have people like us, it would make it a lot easier, because they really don't know what a clue is, what an addict is. They may know some of this and some of that, but there's our recovery path, our whole spectrum with addiction is totally different. I think they need to reach out to people like us and see what they can do. How can we help them and stuff like that?
I'll tell you what, if you ever get that phone call from whoever you're voting for and they say, come teach us about addiction, and you need someone to help you, you call me up and I'm there. I'll be on your team any day.
I got you. I got you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I super appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for joining us on Canadian Sober A. That was Gariel. I'm Doug E. Fresh. Join me next week where I'll have another amazing guest. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.